June 22nd, 2017. Dr. Rock, please call the roll.
Mrs. Elba?
Here.
Mrs. Gator?
Here.
Mrs. Newman?
Here.
Ms. Mitchell?
Here.
Mr. Freeman?
Here, all present. Next on our board agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Can everybody stand and face the flag? Recite the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Next on our board agenda is the approval of the agenda. Board members, I know you had a chance to look at the agenda. Are there any changes, any questions about the agenda? Board members?
I don't have any, Mr. Chair.
Superintendent Jolly, is there any changes or any changes at all on this agenda for tonight?
No, sir.
Dr. Rock, if you review the agenda, you make sure that this district has the financial funds to pay for all of these items on this agenda?
Yes, and then there's one change from the treasurer's section.
Okay.
On item 2.3,
Okay.
the transfer is $23,000 instead of 20, and then the advances are as I handed out the report and submitted to the board yesterday.
What's the dollar amount? I'm sorry, approved transfer, how much, 23?
$23,000.
Board members, please change that at 2.3 transfers in advance to 23,000, or say recommend action. Let the minutes reflect that.
And the advances are the report that I handed out that's at everybody's desk.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rock. At this time, we will need a motion to approve the agenda for June 22nd, 2017. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that this board approve item 1.4, approval of the agenda for the June 22nd regular board meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, but I would like to just note that we're approving the agenda with the changes that Dr. Rock just mentioned.
Thank you, Member Gator.
Item 2.3.
Thank you, Member Gator. Is there any discussion about this agenda at all? Moved by Member, moved by Vice President Mitchell, second by Member Gator. Dr. Rock, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gator?
Yes.
Mrs. Newman?
Yes.
Ms. Silva?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next on our board agenda is the approval of minutes, 1.5. The minutes in question are for the following meetings: May 11, 2017 work session meeting, May 24, 2017 special meeting, and May 25, 2017 regular meeting. At this time, I will need a motion for 1.5 approval of minutes.
Can we separate May 25th, please, and May 11th?
May 11th, you want to separate it, and May 25th, Ms. Elba?
Thank you.
All right, we'll do approval of minutes for first May 11, 2017 work session meeting. A motion.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes for the May 11, 2017 work session meeting.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Moved by Member Gator, second by Member Newman. Any questions about the May 11, 2017 meeting?
I just have a comment.
Go right ahead.
I will not be supporting any of these minutes, as you guys cannot pick and choose what you're going to put in the minutes and what you're not going to put in the minutes. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. Any other? Dr. Rock, please call the roll for the May 11, 2017 work session meeting.
Mrs. Newman?
Yes.
Mrs. Elba?
No.
Mrs. Gator?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
I have to say I was absent during that meeting.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes. Motion carries 3-1. Next, I need a motion for 1.5 approval of minutes. I'm looking for the May 24, 2017 special meeting. Can I have a motion for that, May 24, 2017?
Mr. Chair, I move that this board approve item 1.5, the meeting minutes for the special meeting that was held on May 24, 2017.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Moved by Vice President Mitchell, second by Member Gator. Any questions about that May 24th meeting at all, Board?
No, sir.
Dr. Rock, would you please call the roll for the May 24th, 2017 special meeting?
Mrs. Elba?
No.
Mrs. Gator?
Yes.
Mrs. Moon?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes. Motion carries 4-1. Next on the board agenda is 1.5 approval of minutes for the May 25th, 2017 regular meeting. Can I have a motion, Board?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept the May 25th, 2017 regular meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Moved by Member Gator, second by Vice President Mitchell. Board, we're open for discussion for May 25th, 2017 regular meeting. Any questions or concerns? Dr. Rock, would you please call the roll for the May 25th, 2017 regular meeting?
Mrs. Gator?
Yes.
Mrs. Moon?
Yes.
Mrs. Elba?
Abstain. And I'm abstaining because I was not present at that meeting.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Next on our board agenda is 1.6 public participation.
Excuse me, Mr. Freeman, it's 401, so that was an abstention.
401. Next on our board agenda is 1.6 public participation. Outside on the table, it's an actual public participation card. You can fill it out, give it to our treasurer, Dr. Rock. Your name will be called. You can come up, you will have 3 minutes. Jonathan will set the timer and you can voice your concern, comment. Dr. Rock, do we have any cards?
Mrs. Ridgway?
Come down, Mr. Ridgway.
Good evening.
How are you?
State your address. Mr. Ridgway? Mr. Ridgway? They're not going to address that question. That would be Superintendent Jolly.
But nobody, I mean, it's because you don't have teenage children, nieces or nephews that's being bullied. My child's been raped, I don't know. But she's not speaking on, but she did speak on it, and she was doing that. So I don't know, it's like, and then when I called the news channel, they said, well, don't let me careful with this death situation. So I feel trapped in the sex trafficking. Because there are things some people, or maybe I don't know, if my child was raped, or abducted, or
Thank you, Mr. Ridgway. Dr. Rock, is there another card for public participation?
No.
Next on our agenda, our superintendent updates. Superintendent Jolly, do you have any updates?
Yes, I do. Good evening. I have a few updates. I wanted to go over Westwood and the air conditioner situation and give some good news. The air conditioner update, air conditioners will be delivered to John Dewey tomorrow. Installation will begin next week. Air conditioners will be delivered to the Eastwood and the middle school next week also. Installation is scheduled for the first 2 weeks in July. Westwood air conditioners, we don't have possession to Westwood at this point, will be delivered to the Board of Education, and they are scheduled to be installed the last week in July. The Westwood update, we will take possession of designated areas on July 1st. All departments have a timeline beginning on July 3rd. July 1st is on Monday. So we have, starting July 3rd, we will begin to do the work over there. The air conditioners will be installed the last week of July. Furniture will be moved from Eastwood and John Dewey like the third week of July. And technology work will begin on July 1st. We have a task force that meets weekly to review what we need. Dr. Rock is part of that task force. Technology, Dr. Caber, grounds, maintenance, to get it ready. So we got a plan to get it ready, and it should be ready hopefully by August 4th for students. Good news, I just wanted to announce we have 16 rising 8th graders to 9th graders at Tri-C this summer for an intensive 4-week program where they are getting the students ready to take college classes at Tri-C. They're taking math and English and actual career exploration and coaching and planning. On top of that, we have 13 additional students who have already qualified for early college. So these students are on the borderline of for early college. They need some more study skills and they need to pass the assessments. We have 13 all ready to go. And we anticipate we anticipate all those students making it. Miss Braxton, myself visited them on Wednesday. They were doing a great job. And I also want to give a lot of credit to Nova and Tri-C for their hard work and commitment to us. The boys track team, at the last board meeting, the board approved sending the track team to Greensboro. They traveled to the New Balance Indoor National Outdoor Meet. Our 4x1 team finished in 9th in the nation. I want to acknowledge the runners, Elijah Gordon, Dimitri Keaton, Jacques Cornell, and Jermaine Hill. And Dimitri Keaton finished 14th in the nation in 100 meters. So I just wanted to give them a lot of things going on this summer as we get ready for Eastwood, get ready for the move to Westwood. New principals at the high school, new principals at the Eastwood, movement around. We have a lot of movement. As you can see the agenda, we have people leaving, a lot of people coming to our district. But this is a great time as you go through these transitions. We are transitioning to what we will be, which is a great school district. We have some preliminary data back, I would say. And I don't want to announce any of it because it's not final. But our graduation rate is looking like it improved significantly. And I want to say a lot of this is attributed to our data being correct. Ms. Rudolph's team every single day, along with special ed, are looking at our data and ensuring it is correct. So this year we will have an accurate measure of exactly where we are. And so far, preliminary information is saying we're in a good place. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Jolly. Is there any?
I'd like to just ask a quick question about the data. Are we still working with, is it ESC? So it's a combined effort between Mrs. Rudolph and ESC. Will we continue that next year?
Yes. So there's a whole lot of reports that come in on a continuous basis. What happens is the ESC gets the report, they send it to us, and what our team does is verify it for accuracy. So once they verify for accuracy, they send it back to the ESC, and they ensure it's incorrectly. What we found is that over the past few years is that we were sending the reports back, but they weren't verified for accuracy. So we were compliant, but they weren't accurate, which reflected in our graduation rate being lower because we had students on our roll that shouldn't have been there. It resulted in other items where kids were counting for us that shouldn't. So the process this year has been very intense to ensure that our data is accurate.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions for the superintendent board? Update. Next on our board agenda, 1.8, presentation, high school science adoption by Ms. Ruth Ray. Would you come on down, Ms. Ray? Just state your name and your position with the district.
I'm Ruth Ray, secondary academic coordinator for the Warrensville City School District. We're presenting on our high school science curriculum adoption along with the first year. One of our high school teachers, I'm associated with science in high school. I'm going to start off talking about the process, as I did before we did the ELA. So with the process,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jonathan, Mike,
You got to turn it
well, I'm going to start talking about the process. Because the curriculum adoption process is first starts with us contacting vendors. We contact vendors, we send to them, we look at the curriculum, and the first thing they do is begin to send us in samples. Very involved samples, not they send us teacher positions, student positions, all the different types of materials that go with it. Once those materials come in, we begin to give them to the different departments, so they can begin to review them on the materials. Then we set up a presentation. And when we set the presentation up, we have an adoption team. Each presentation is about 1 to 2 hours. The vendors come in and they present to our educators, curriculum instruction, board member, parent, academic coordinators, and our academic superintendent. And during the presentation, they lay out all of the materials, the things that sometimes students have had an opportunity to look at the materials, so they take questions, they go through every component of those materials. Once the presentation is over, the materials begin to be evaluated. So the teachers take the materials back to the classroom to their team. Once they team receives the materials, they look through them. Some of them use some of the materials in their classrooms. But along with that, taking them back, they receive a rubric. They receive a rubric, the teachers, the parents, and everyone who's involved with looking through the materials. And then we rate the materials and they submit the rubric back. We bring the vendors back at the evening to have another conversation. If we want to talk or if we want that conversation, then the team meets again and makes a decision on evaluation. With this particular adoption, we use 2 vendors, Rocky and Pearson. And the winner was, or the curriculum selected was McGraw-Hill. Now, this was not an easy selection at all. McGraw-Hill offered us, Pearson offered us some things that was great. And the first thing we said, we thought, Pearson is an arcade. Wow, it's great. It must be great to get in high school. Pearson is an amazing component for its 8A, for the materials that it has. When we got to the high school component, they offer one piece that is called foundation book. The foundation book offered is for students at all level leaders that have this book. We got really excited about it. We actually presented materials to the team again and said, hey, check this out. Check out this was our live binder. It was a place to collect materials where the students could go. They know that their resources are there. From McGraw-Hill up and going with a component called LearnSmart. We'll talk about that more LearnSmart offered our students the opportunity to customize their learning. They can answer the question of why I love science or why I hate science. I hate science because I don't know measurement. And it offers them opportunity to get more work and build in this online component for them. That's all measurement as they learn, along with the what's being presented at the standard level. So, McGraw-Hill curriculum is adopted across the country, the states, and the cities. And here's some of our surrounding districts. And fortunately, that some of our educators had an opportunity to actually use some McGraw-Hill before, so it was even a better buy. It was not solely to them, but they were able to speak to the material. And those are the local districts that are currently using this McGraw-Hill science tool. Three components of McGraw-Hill. We pulled this out because we believe that it aligns with where we're going. It adapts to the learner, personalized learning. You guys currently know at high school, you have different pathways, you have a lot of different things going on. So inside of the McGraw-Hill, it has the STEAM, it has it applies to everyday life. I mean, it's not because I'm a science person, but it's a great science research. All right, you could be on that. So it So at this point, I'm going to turn you and talk about the lesson. Any questions?
Not for now.
All right. This is my first year teaching here at Warrensville. It's my first year teaching ever. I did my teaching at Warrensville last year, and I'm part of their adoption of this Warrensville program. And so I've gotten to choose some of the questions that went with it. And that's one of this lesson planning tool was one of my favorite bits. That offers this way curriculum style instruction that teachers can access. It's not available to students, but the teachers can click on any one of these drop-down menus and find information on them in order to kind of inspire more reading or to get more labs or allow more students to or allow the students to be more engaged in the science, which is the biggest thing. I feel like at the school is getting students more interested in the science because most students are finding it a little bit boring. The other thing that this lesson planning tool offers for us is a formative assessment. It's not a test. It allows us to assess the students either writing or a project, which is really big in science because tests don't always judge what the students know. Projects and other opportunities to demonstrate this works better at engaging new information. And one of the other things I really like to offer in this lesson planning tool is that in every section, not just every chapter, every section, they offer some form of presentation. It's not only PowerPoint, that the students can engage the students so they can have access to the PowerPoint version of the textbook or the actual learning of the textbook. There's another section on the Connect Ed website, specifically for teachers, and that's the assessment. These are the actual written tests. And I wanted to talk about three different things on the assessment section, specifically that the actual written tests that we are giving students, there are three different versions of it. There's a test A, which is a little bit lower level. There are less choices, like ABCs and ABCD. The reading level is a little bit lower also, so it allows for our students who are more struggling in school to still be tested on what they know, not on their ability to understand the question. The test E is for your average students. It's their normal ABCD. There's a little bit more options in the writing section. It's always better to get them writing so they can have their thoughts. And then test C offers like very advanced level questioning. It really helps those students who are maybe in your regular class, but they're very smart. They can get this level of test, and it really pushes them to go a little bit further. There's also standardized test prep. It's all multiple choice. It's still leaning towards an idea that all of our standardized tests are going to be A, B, C, and D, but it still offers some very good questions in order to get students thinking about their standardized tests. And then the last little bit I really like in this assessment section is that it can offer a Spanish version. If we have students that are second language, the test is completely in Spanish, and both the online version and the standardized test, so that any student can access the English
Was there a possibility to get other parents instead of the staff that we have with all these parents in the district? I was reading your thing up there. Well, I mean, one of those staff members doesn't work at the high school, but they work in the district, so it said parents.
Was there a possibility of other parents?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there was a possibility. Actually, contacted the liaison because they do two more. So they were the parents that was available to us now.
And I have another question. Of all the schools that adopted McGraw-Hill, how many soared above average as far as testing, and how many are at the bottom like we are?
So our two of the local schools, Cary School District, they struggle in the same way that we've been struggling, but they found LearnSmart school. Cary also uses the CPN, so we've been able to kind of talk back to that district and do a couple of PDs with them, understand where they're at. Those ones that I can definitely say, but I can't get information for you.
Thanks, that'd be great.
And I had two questions. One of them kind of piggybacks on what Member Alba said. I know there's 3 levels of testing, but is the curriculum and the testing still aligned with our state testing?
Yes, the beauty about this testing is not only is it a paper test, it's also an online component. So it's a click and drive. It's a different thing that we're doing with the state testing. And everything is aligned to our state standards. And along with the science curriculum, they also align everything with the national standards also. That gives us just a broader look at what's going on. But everything is aligned to all high testing.
Okay. And then I'm sorry. Then my last test, my question, not test. How are the kids transitioned from the Pearson curriculum, coming out of K through 8 into the new curriculum?
So I'm going to start with our 8th grade honor students actually will use this curriculum because they take physical science at 8th grade.
Okay.
So they will have what we did this year, and that hasn't happened yet, so our vendor with Pearson has offered us an opportunity for some additional PD to talk more about the interactive science online as we move to the McGraw-Hill. When I said it became a very personal search, like we were emailing them back and saying, okay, you may have live under, but you guys, we need something more, and live I don't get us this. So, with that being said, our vendors on these 2 companies telling us about transition.
Okay.
You probably see that happening on
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have more of the presentation?
Yes.
I'm going to let you finish and then I'll ask my
So
question.
this is the part that I really guys want to do experience the technology component. It's more in depth than technology. The students go on. Some of the students, when they go on to the student test, they also find out that the students get the LearnSmart part. So when they're looking at their book, they're actually building their way of learning, their pathway of learning. So the teacher can set up their pathway of learning, but they can want to be like, hey, wait a minute, I went on and I had a trouble going with an ecosystem work, and it took me to the page, and it showed me the ecosystem work, and it gave me sense of mine. So this is the LearnSmart. I don't know if I can. And I have a flag for it also, if you want to take the time. So at the bottom of the picture, there's a head, and here we go. Right here. So this short video talks about
No 2 students have the same learning needs. Some need to practice the basics or they get left behind. Others need to study longer to understand new concepts. And some don't know which concepts they've mastered. LearnSmart is an adaptive learning technology that provides each student with a personal learning path based on individual knowledge, confidence level, and retention ability. LearnSmart is adaptive, allowing students to immediately see their individualized progress and customized learning plans. As they work through the program, LearnSmart continuously adapts the content using advanced data-driven algorithms to adjust the sequence, difficulty, and type of questions presented. When students interact with the software, LearnSmart collects data points based on the student's weak and strong areas to refine how questions are presented. $1.5 billion student responses have been recorded with LearnSmart, allowing LearnSmart to evolve into a highly effective learning tool. The more students that use LearnSmart, the more intelligent it becomes. LearnSmart is based on real learning science. The software calculates a forget rate and predicts the exact moment a student is about to forget something. This means students must also answer review questions to make sure they've retained what they learned. In a study involving almost 700 students from 6 institutions, students experience higher success rates and greater long-term retention with LearnSmart. LearnSmart. Intelligent, adaptive, content-driven. Your better learning advantage. No two students have the same learning needs. Some
This is one of the components that really solve the problems because it's beyond them sit down, talk with the teacher, and ask the teacher how some of your students act. This curriculum actually gives students the opportunity to be their own advocates in their learning, and especially in areas where we struggle with most of the science is on. So, it's a platform, and this is how it happens.
Okay.
So just a few more highlights. I passed the flyer around the technology. So the book is an online book for every student. But once the student downloads the book to their cell phone, to their tablets, it works totally offline. So it's a total download. It's a total download to the internet. So it keeps the students can always use their book offline. And that's when it's on first year exposed with the lesson plan and resources that will be able to teach. So I'm going to speak to the lab tools and we have a couple more slides.
Alright, so on the lab section of this program, they offer 2 different types of labs. We have our virtual labs that allow students, I made it interactive. Okay, so it allows students to do a virtual lab. These labs tend to be ones that we can actually easily do in a classroom, or even at the time to do them in a classroom. It allows us to simulate some scientific experiment at a faster rate. And it allows students to get that lab aspect into one classroom time period as opposed to putting over lots and lots of weeks. They also offer the more traditional classroom labs, which is a tab on the online program, which is called Connect Ed. They offer, through every chapter, they offer different types of labs. So reading lab, film lab, research lab. The best thing about all of these documents that are all of their labs are driven to make students have to design their own experiments. They're less cookie cutter labs, the students are just doing what they're told. And there's more thinking involved. How do they set it up? What questions are they trying to and every lab starts with that question. What is the importance of this lab? And the students design, simulate, and then provide data for that lab, which is one of the most important things in science that research says is project-based learning. It helps students retain information. When they're doing the research themselves, instead of being told about the research, they're more likely to retain it. And after we come up with these real-world connections, this project-based learning idea is huge in science right now. Every unit has a PL, what they're called, that integrates not only what subject you're working on, but also other aspects of STEM or STEAM, which is what this series is. It allows students to use those problem-solving skills, even to learn problem-solving skills, which is one of the big things in science classroom that we see, is that it allows students to really talk how to solve problems. And that's what these PLs do. They're rapidly moving right now based on science being PL, because the project
spoke briefly at the beginning about the levels reading book that the other program offered, but McGraw-Hill also offers something that's called Reading Essentials. And Reading Essentials, so every chapter, every chapter has this word student at level. So it doesn't say, well, since you didn't give this to the second grade, we're going to give you second. No. This is the ninth grade standard, but it's at a less difficult reading level. So this is the essential. So that's the essential reading. That was another component that's still alive right along with that personalized learning component to McGraw-Hill. Professional development, that is a big question. Do they have to wait until you enroll that professional development? Do we have to wait until our PDAs? No. McGraw-Hill offers this on-demand professional development. You click and it's there. But everything is basically everything you can think of. The videos, webinars, online, classroom instruction videos. They have every area in the world that they have the school at their hand and say, how do I set this room up? How does this lab look from beginning to end? And then most of the components of technical instructional support videos. You know, why are we teaching project-based learning right now? Project-based learning is the only way to teach science, but it actually gives them pedagogy behind it. How to write a science lab, what to do. So McGraw-Hill really, they really stood out. They really stood out. So we hope that it is supposed to be for our students. So we feel very confident. And not only for our students, we're excited about giving our teachers another tool and another resource to be able to
Is there any questions from Ms. Ray?
Yeah, comment and a question. So what I've kind of heard from your presentation is that you guys have selected a curriculum. It sounds like you know, give a lot of thought to what you're selecting. Sounds like it's challenging, just some of the notes that I jotted down. Engaging with the labs, developmentally appropriate. The content is learned through the investigation in the labs, and it sounds like it's engaging. So what I would like to ask is this, because one of the things that the board is going to have to start doing more of is making decisions based on data, or just reviewing data in general. And I know you spoke to standardized tests. So is there a way for staff to do quality checks, I guess is the word I want to use, for data regularly, to kind of show where they are when it comes to the standardized tests?
Okay, so I'm going to let first.
Okay, she got excited. She was like, I got this one. Ooh, me teacher.
Allows for us to do this. There's a bunch of options. My favorite part of it is the tree of knowledge.
Okay.
The teacher has access to it. You can see as a student and lets you see how their knowledge is growing. And it's throughout the whole year. I feel that the LearnSmart test is a lot like psychology, a lot in the test.
Right.
It offers the same level of questions. And it's just, it's based on our textbook. It really flows with it. They go hand in hand. A lot of times, it seems like it was separate. It didn't quite fit into our curriculum. And the LearnSmart textbook really is true knowledge. See the tree growing every student. Hopefully, by the end of the year, their knowledge trees is big, like a little seedling. And there's also you can do the basic data.
Okay.
What percentage the student has on each section. And it allows for the LearnSmart textbook allows you to incorporate that into the class. Time, then you get a certain percentage by this time period. And that's what I like about LearnSmart.
Okay.
And also if they're really do the standardized test. So McGraw-Hill has a standardized test. Every chapter.
Okay.
When you do the standardized test, it's an online test. It's a check test.
Okay.
The data comes right here.
Okay.
So you don't have to wait. Oh, did you check my paper yet? No. On Monday, you'll warm up or your bell ringer is 5 questions that everybody will see.
Okay.
So that's where that data is coming back to them immediately.
So this is for all grades at the high school?
All grades and all science. So biology, physics, physical science, natural biology, and chemistry, and environmental science.
Okay, so I just have one other question. So if we as a board said, we want to see data to see how well the students are doing with this new curriculum, what would you recommend to us? What would you think is important for us to know, and what can this new curriculum give you? What will it tell you?
So two of the things of it is what they're doing on the LG standardized test. So multiple subjects under science. So in the biology is a test area. So being able to do technical knowledge test on a weekly basis, every member of curriculum team has access to, they have their own page. So if you say, hey Ray, I want to see some data on science. Oh, okay, let's look at biology and physical science. And those are our two test areas. Not only those two test areas, we have our 8th graders now. Who haven't even tested in the science yet. We can see where they're at, what they're doing, and where their gaps will be at. So those are the two tests I say immediately. That's what you students.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Those are the places we go to immediately to see that. And if this is just a great treat to us, you know, hands on right there, what everybody is doing.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Ray.
Well, you know what, I don't really have a question, but I do have a statement. I know Draw Hill has been around for quite a while, and my concern would be, how well do they challenge our children? I would like to see success. I don't like to see lore. I don't like to hear that a school is failing. I want to hear the success stories, what we can do to make it better. That our kids in science will be strong as any other kid in the world.
So I just want to say this to you. In December, Ms. Person already said, hey, Ray, I don't have a sing day ready out of the capacity. So come to sing in December, and then we can really do it all the time.
Okay.
But just like when you said, the Pearson presentation, you know, really excited about what it looks like, what the text looks like, how the hands on. I'm really about to look through here, maybe we get that same stuff.
And I do believe Ms. Moore is still on the teaching and learning. It's teachers and students that change scores. It's relationships, teachers, and students. We can buy all of the materials in the world, but unless our teachers connect with our students, have high expectations for our students, are consistent with their high expectations, our scores won't go up. So that's the nest of all learning is people. And I think that it's a great resource, but our people have to implement it at high fidelities. Our leader have to monitor it on a daily basis to ensure that the teaching and learning is going on. So, I mean, we can have it online and all these things, but if the kids are not made to do it and it's not monitored consistently, we'll be in the same place. But I truly believe that when you give teachers the resources and you have the right leaders in the room to ensure they do it, scores change.
I have a few more things. Does anybody else have anything? No? Okay. Now I heard you say that you like Pearson. I want to know what other successful schools are using Pearson and why didn't you use it? That's my first question. And I need to piggyback on Ms. Moore. My concern is that we have a history as a board to adopt programs that come from failing schools. We don't tend to look at other school districts that are successful and want to come back behind them. So I'm sitting here right now looking at some of the school districts that you had up on there, and none of them are doing well at all. So that's my comment on it. And then as far as the data, we just paid some company to do all of our data. So I need to know, how is that company going to work with you, or are you going to do a separate data? Okay. Okay.
All of the data also off of that online website is able to be transferred like to an Excel, and then also it needs to be So that, you know, the new program has a lot of direct connects with a lot of different sport. The teacher grade books, a lot of grade books, a lot of different systems right into there.
Right, if there's so many successful schools that are already using it.
they're building their learning. And when the teachers interact and they set this up, maybe speak on how they learn. So that food looks like it's up on it. But to be very honest, peer is, that's not comparison, and then you sit back, this is what it's on, you sit back, but then that we already know success in very simple school. That wasn't something nice. If you want me to do like a great Saturday kind of go through it, I'm more than grateful.
When was the last time we had a science adoption for high school? So I just say it's hard to get the scores when you don't have the tools. So now you have the tools. Now we got to get the scores.
So Ms. Ray, McGraw is going to furnish with all of the
Hardback and online.
okay the books that we need.
Yes.
Okay.
I have one more quick question about the downloads.
Let's get all the questions out. We gotta wrap this up. Go ahead.
I have one more question, please. Yes. We understand that. So, okay, so the question that I'd like to ask is this, because you mentioned something about them being able to download it. Can they download it to multiple devices? Okay, so it doesn't matter. Phone, anything. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ray. Appreciate the time. Yeah. Next on our board agenda, this is a consent agenda. Most board members have went through these items. You always have open access to your treasurer or your superintendent to ask any questions or any of these items on the agenda. Dr. Rock, consent, treasurer's report, and financial recommendation.
Thank you.
So tonight, this is part of the school year where we have the year-end close process. So I want to review some of the process and all the documents that are tied into the process, and how vital this is for the financial records of the district. The year-end process, it includes adjusting revenue and expenditures to the actual amounts. We want to adjust to actual with projections for the timeline that's remaining with the end of the year up to June 30th. Okay, so in essence, like we were projecting up till today, and then we're adjusting the actual today and then projecting the last 8 days of the year. The state auditors require the amended appropriations to be approved by the board before June 30th. And then the county auditor requires the final appropriations, amended resources, and temporary appropriations by July 14th. So you can see this is one of the unique things. Usually if you were in the corporate world, you would go to the last day and adjust. And some companies actually have a 13-month where they use that 13th month to close out. Ours is unique. We have to close before the last day of the year. So it becomes challenging. The reports are to the board in the process. It's a balance then of balancing to capture as much as possible before the board meeting, but yet get reports out to the board. Okay? Best practice is for the June regular meeting to be as close to June 30th as possible. The 22nd was challenging for us because we have a payroll on June 30th. That made it most challenging. If we didn't have the payroll, it wouldn't be as challenging. The 22nd is okay. When you start having like your last meeting, June 10th, June 15th, there's a lot of uncertainty in that. So June 22nd was okay, but it was challenging again for us because we have payroll. So then for those 8 remaining days, you say, well, how are we going to project it? Well, on the revenue side, if we collect more revenue than what's projected, that's good. So we adjust the revenue to what we've collected up to today, and if we collect more than what's been budgeted, the auditors will say, that's good, that's okay. You budgeted, you want to under budget on that. Now on the expenditures, if we spend more than what we have appropriated, we will be cited. So that's where it becomes a balancing act of making sure that we create realistic cushions in our appropriations for emergency supplies, summer projects, and the remaining payroll. So that where the process really have to sharpen the pencil for. So again, on revenue, we adjust the revenue up till today, and it's actual. If we report more revenue, that's okay. But the expenditures, we have to be careful with our projections. So for our year end, just some of the facts here. The general fund has a healthy balance, and a balance that will cover any negatives in any other funds. None of our funds are negative, though. Everything's adjusted to where they all have positive balances. That's one of the first things that the auditors test for. Operating transfers have decreased this year. Last year we had operating transfers to the tune of $250,000. This year it's $23,001 fund. Usually, various funds would usually get an operating transfer in school business, athletics, recreation, and food services. We're lucky our food services operates with a fund balance. Year-end open purchase orders and encumbrances are down $1 million. We've talked about that a lot. So we're headed in the right direction on that, and we'll see more fruits of our labor once we close the books and move into the new year. And all the appropriations are within the resources. That's what the auditors are going to test for. So on one of the summary page on the appropriations, you'll notice there's two columns. One column is all the resources, the next column is all the appropriations. And we test it to make sure that there's enough resources to cover the appropriations. That's what the auditors test for. So we're in compliance there. Operating transfers, year-end transfers. An operating transfer is where the general fund goes out to rescue a fund that has a negative balance. Okay? So this year, the recreational fund went to a negative balance, and we need to transfer $23,000. Fiscal year 18, athletics and recreation will most likely require transfers. We'll talk a little bit about that more further in the presentation. Recreation had a carryover balance from prior years of $68,000 that they were able to utilize this year, but they have a spend of $91,000. And that prior year carryover was from prior years that there was a balance in there on the recreation fund. And I think that goes back to the history where the school district took over the recreational fund with the city. There used to be a levy, and then that levy was canceled, and the school district took over the recreational. Athletics had a carryover of $217,000 based on is primarily to prior year operating transfers that just accumulated. So again, in prior years when you just had $250 grand going to different funds, it was just accumulating, but then that masks the ultimate need of the fund. So it had operating transfers from a carryover of $217,000, $58,000 of revenue, and a $271,000 spend. So that one, it's gone down to zero. Next year, we're going to have an operating transfer for that for next year. Year-end advances. Now, an advance is different. That's like a loan. The general fund is advancing funds to a fund that may be negative, and the fund is promising to pay back in the subsequent school year. So it's like an accounts receivable, okay? We've had a good improvement in this. Prior to this, last year, we had $2 million that was advanced out. It was all returned back. But $2 million is almost the total funding of all of those funds, of the state and federal grant funds. So what we did this year is we requested cash throughout the year, and now we're doing an end-of-the-year advance, which you advance the money in June, and the money's going to come in July and August next year, July, August, and September. So we have an improvement. That's down to $1.2 million. And our goal for next year is to move more of the spending within the school year before June 30th, so that even lowers that even more. And again, that there is maximizing your general fund revenues. By sending $2 million and advancing out, that's $2 million we can't be having it invested, and it ties up it masks the ultimate needs of the funds and the ultimate spending and financial records of the funds. So the next part is temporary appropriations. Based in the temporary appropriations now, these are appropriations for next year. So that's why it's so busy in the Treasurer's office right now. We're closing out the current year to June 30th, but we're also getting ready for July 1st with the new school year. So we have one budget ending and a new budget opening up. The temporary appropriations are the new budget and how that's opening up for the next school year. The general fund is based on the 5-year forecast, so we use that for our temporary appropriations. Then we also use prior year revenue, anticipated year-end fund balance and such to build the temporary appropriations for next year. The temporary appropriations will carry us to September 30th, and in that time we will build our budget, our district budget, and then the permanent appropriations then will come out on September 30th. The board will approve those. Super purchase orders in July will start the budget process for many funds, and the CCIP allocations are being released. The CCIP allocations are our state and federal grants that we get. So that was a popular topic because there was a lot of news on the federal grants being cut. And here's some of the ones coming in, but it's not across the board. And if you dig further into it, the programs that are being cut are programs where at least the federal Department of Education is saying that the programs aren't working correctly, so that's why they're making cuts to individual programs. So it's not like they're going to cut 25% across the board to all programs. It's isolated programs. So that's why you see differences here. Our Title I is being reduced by 15% to the tune of $158,000. Title II is going down $10,000, and IDEA is going down $144,000. There's a lot more allocations to come out that aren't released yet from the Ohio Department of Education, but these are the few that we have right now, just to get a feel for it. Year-end budget review. These are some building budgets, just to show you some examples of how we made it through the year. You can see Eastwood School, the original budget was $20,000 and $12,000 was spent. All of the budgets are within. You can see that. The high school was probably the most challenging because we were building that budget. All of these budgets were built in a new way with the superintendent and myself. And the high school one was capturing the right expenditures that should be on the high school budget and expenditures that should be in the district. Some other budgets, permanent improvement. Again, all of these budgets are within. Permanent improvement, transportation, communications budget, that one's brand new. Now, what I do want to draw your attention to is the last column where it says prior year carryover encumbrances. This is what we're working on correcting for the district. When you have a carryover encumbrance, that means there's a purchase order that's left open at the end of the year, anticipated to be spent in the following year. But ours are very high, so all year we've been working on closing out purchase orders that we don't need. There were ones in there that were old, and it just might be, there might be multiple reasons why that's happening. It could be the change in regime, it could be change in staff, but it's one of the cleanups that we had to do to make the records more usable. So you can see some of those, how big they are. Like on maintenance, it's almost $600,000 of prior year carryover encumbrances. So again, that's where we're working to get those down this year. Some of the goals for next year is to close open purchase orders that are not used from the prior year, increase the spend of state and federal grant funds into the school year before June 30th, establish super blanket purchase orders, which will be up to the board in July. We'll be bringing a list from multiple departments. And project the operating transfers for fiscal year 2018 so we can get a feel for what we're going to need as an operating transfer. We can make the decision to make an operating transfer at the beginning of the year, but those funds are allowed to be negative throughout the year as long as you have funding in your general fund to cover it, which we do. And then the last one is obviously to return the fiscal year 17 advances to the general fund when they're received, which would be somewhere around September and October. And that completes my section.
Is there any questions for Treasurer Dr. Rock on any of these items he has in the Treasury report?
Yes, Mr. President, I have two questions, Dr. Rock. On slide, I don't know, it's the year-end transfers.
Yes.
We're speaking to the athletics and recreation. I know we had the negative fund balance of $23K. And I know you showed the 58.2 revenue in the last bullet. Are we going to begin as a district looking at how to build revenue streams to offset any future negative balances?
We could, but in the recreational fund right now, there's no revenue coming into it. It was using that old fund balance.
That's carry over there. you ran it out.
Yes.
So when you look at the next school year, are we going to be, where are we projected to be?
It's going to be a loss, and we're going to have to transfer.
Right.
So if we didn't do anything, we would have to transfer $91,000 there.
Correct. So again, as a district, I think we need to look at how we can build a revenue stream through that utility there, because we can't keep taking that kind of a hit.
Yes, we can look at that. We can look at the budget. There's multiple things. That's why I said that's something we need to look at.
Correct. So the other question I have, and again, I'm sorry, I don't know what slide it is, it's on these state grant allocations. We're looking at the Title I, Title IIA, and Idea Fund. How will these reductions impact our programs as a district?
Right now, we will know more when we build the budgets for next year. Right now, we've had substantial carryovers in those funds, so the trend for the yearly spending is almost in line with these, absorbing the losses. But we're talking, Dr. Caver, our niece, we're all talking about this, planning for next year once the final allocations come out.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I want to go back to what Member Mitchell was talking about as far as athletics and recreation. You stated FY18 athletics and recreation will most likely require transfers, and I remember writing a question, why? And you said, I'll get back to that. So I'd kind of like to hear from you why it requires transfers. I'm pretty sure I understand it, but I'd like to hear from you why. And then just kind of clarify for me, now fully utilized, the annual spend is $91,000. So what I'm hearing is annually we spend $91,000 in the rec center.
Yes.
Can you tell me also, I don't need specifics, but what does that $91,000 consist of?
A lot of it's personnel, the payroll.
For the rec center?
Yes.
Employees, so when we say that, we're talking pool, volunteers.
Yes.
Okay.
And then some maintenance, but predominantly payroll. And so on the rec center, you had a balance that was put in that fund some years ago. And the fund was able to be self-sufficient up until this year. It was the last final drawdown. I had to go back into history to see exactly when that happened. But I know part of the history on it was there used to be a levy through the city and then the school district took that on either when we built the recreation or somewhere along the line in that. The athletics one is, it had a fund balance because accumulated transfers into the fund, even though we may not have needed the transfers. In other words, in the past, we had $250,000, there's $250 every year. So there was just the same amount hitting athletics. It wasn't all $250 wasn't in athletics, but we transferred into food services, athletics, and those were the two. So it accumulated a balance that they were able to utilize this year. So that's why I said it's better to shut off your operating transfers and see what the fund goes into, because then you can make decisions. You can, number one, see where your operations cost for that fund, and then number two, you're actually able to preserve that financial data, so we can go back and look at it, and then by doing an operational transfer in the end, you're seeing how much it's bleeding off the district. Does that help explain that?
Yeah, it does. So I'm just going to make a final comment about the whole rec center thing. And that is that, in my opinion, we don't have a recreation center the way, communities have recreation centers. So at some point, and remember Mitchell mentioned this as well, we really do need to have a discussion, probably as a board team, along with Mr. Jolly and whoever else you feel needs to be at the table, to discuss what we can do to take that financial burden off of us, whether it is eliminating things that are going on in the rec center or increasing revenue. So I just kind of want to put that out there. That's my thought on it.
Other board members, do you have any questions about Treasurer Dr. Rock's?
I do. So the Cleveland Heights thing, because I asked about this quite a bit. You said it was very minimum in the thousands that we got for that. Did the money go into athletics or did it go into the recreation center?
No, it was a lot of money. It's like $38,000, and it's reported in other revenue in our general fund.
Okay, why wouldn't we put it in the athletic fund? I mean, the recreation fund.
We could transfer that into the.
Excuse us 1 second.
When I get petroleum.
Hold on 1 second. Can we, is that someone's phone?
Yeah, could we ask that you turn that off, please? Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
We can make it as a transfer later if we wanted to.
Okay, my next question is that you just stated that you talked about the closing of your year end because of when the meetings are held, and it caused a problem because you were doing payroll. So what would be your recommendation date as far as a board meeting, so it would not interfere with this closing, year end, and things of that nature?
Well, this was tough because the payroll's right on June 30th, so we just had to plan for it. So right now, if you look at our appropriations, you'll see that there's enough to cover our payroll in there, which is approximately $600,000. Actually, we even have a cushion in there. Right now, there's $800,000 just in case. We're able to do that. So when you have a payroll on June 30th, you really can't plan for that. But otherwise, if we didn't have that coming up, when we go to set up our meetings, if I feel like it's uncomfortable and you're saying that the board wants to meet on June 15th, I would raise that concern. Of course, it's still up to the board to schedule your board meetings.
Here's why I'm asking. If we set our tone in January, that would be something that we would need to know ahead of time, as opposed to waiting till May trying to adjust the board meeting schedule so you're not in a crunch, so you said. So that
I already knew that. I knew that already.
That would be my recommendation, because we can all see the 2018 calendar. My next question is the CTAG money. I asked a question about this when it was board approved, and you stated it really doesn't matter because we're going to get the money back. You recall saying that when I asked about the money and the salary and things of that nature? When is it going to be reimbursed?
Whenever we file for reimbursement, we get dollar for dollar from the county, Cuyahoga County.
And when do we do that?
Every 3 months.
Okay. All right. My final question is, since we always tend to have a surplus in our PI, and as I watch these spring sports, I'm sure we can possibly find some money in our PI budget to assist these kids in spring sports with the softball and baseball having helmets, with the bleachers outside where parents are standing to watch games. I mean, we accommodate and bend over backwards for our fall and winter sports, and we just kind of leave the summer sports just out here and, just willy-nilly. But also, if we can possibly look into also tents for our track team. Everybody I'm sure has been to a track meet, and it's hot, and our kids have no tents to keep them covered. What they were using were the coach's personal tents from home. So that's just my thought, and I'm just putting it out there.
Those are great candidates for PI funding.
Yes, I know.
Any other questions from the board for?
Well, hold on 1 minute. I'd like to ask a question about this, Chairman.
Go ahead.
Purchasing tents is a good use of PI money? Isn't that something that
Yeah,
can be
it is.
purchased through athletics?
Yes, I meant on if we're going to be redoing the batting,
Correct.
the
Bleachers, I
for the
would agree
bleachers.
with.
Yes, that's what I'm talking
So
about.
define for everybody what PI is and what it's typically used for.
Tents would be a supply. PI is something that's going to be attached or has a future life.
So
So
what
if it's a
about-
big tent,
Okay.
if it has a 4 to 5 year life, then that is a PI.
So it has a 4 to 5 year life. Would helmets be a good use of PI money?
Helmets would be more supplies.
All right, I wanted to clarify that. We do have a surplus of PI money, I agree. But it's usually used for bigger ticket items, is what I've.
Yes, it's paying for the air conditioners.
All right.
Yeah, the Westwood things we need in Westwood also.
So if there's anything big that Mr. Swift needs, he can meet with Mr. Jolly and us, when we're building our budgets, and there's things that we need to see if there's any PI stuff in there.
Thank you for clarifying.
Just for the sake of the audience, can you please let everyone know what PI means? What it stands
Permanent
for?
improvement.
Thank you, Treasurer. At this time, Board, I will need a motion for consent, Treasurer's report and financial recommendations. 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept as a consent agenda for the treasurer's report and financial recommendations, items 2.1 through 2.6.
Do I have a second? Moved by Member Gator, second by Vice President. Board, any questions? Dr. Rock, please call the roll.
Mrs. Moon?
Yes.
Mrs. Elba?
Yes.
Mrs. Gator?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell? Mr. Freeman?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Next on our board agenda is our consent superintendent recommendation and presentation for board action administrative staff. I would like to thank Mrs. Kenya Hunt, our HR director, and her staff, Tasha Pettigrew, for working very hard to put all this together. So Kenya, I'm just saying thank you for seeing what you did for the last 2 weeks on this, all right? Mr. Jolly?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about 3.2. 3.2 is our substitute administrators. This is a standard process of now renewing them. I do want to just talk about the usage of this sub-administrators in 15. We used them for $14,000. For 16, it was down to $9,000, and that was due to one of our principals getting ill during the school year, and we had to fulfill her spot the last 2 months. And this year, we actually had a zero balance for using substitutes. What we did a lot this year was use our other principals, and just use them around the district to cover those areas. Also, I wanted to talk about 3.3, the administrative salary schedule. I'm asking the board to make an adjustment to the salary schedule to align with experience and competitive compensation packages. This is in relation to being competitive. The Return to Excellence Plan talked about us having competitive salaries. We lost 3 employees. One employee received a raise of $45,000. Another employee received a raise of over $20,000, and another one over $15,000. That we can't compete with that at all. But all we asking for is that we adjust 3 areas. The areas are high school principal, academic superintendent, middle school principal, and then there's 2 created positions from last year, which were the special ed specialist and the human resource generalist. That we add them to the list. Again, it's fiscally responsible. It's on a cost of $43,000.
Plus benefits, right?
No, $43,000 total. The benefits is already included.
But the higher money, more money they make, the more the benefits are.
No, Dr. Rock, can you?
The STRS 14%.
Okay, so what's the
Health benefits.
You did the math, so what is it?
Yeah, it'll be 43,000 plus another 17%. So it'll be just around 51,000.
61.
51, somewhere around 51.
So again, we're asking the revision of the pay scale for those 3 positions, again, to make us competitive in our pay, so we can retain our employees. And as we move forward, as we complete our negotiations, we will again look at revising our everything so that we have competitive pay scales. Again, we all understand that we have to get results and to get paid, and that's what we're doing. So we hold ourselves to the results. The rest in that area is all the employees. That's it.
Thank you, Superintendent Jolly. At this time, I will need a motion for consent superintendent's recommendation.
Separate 3-3.
Administrative salary schedule.
No, 3 is the high school principal.
Administrative salary schedule.
Oh, you know what, you are right, I'm looking at the one. Sorry.
I don't know.
I apologize.
3-3.
Yeah, I'll take that up. We'll remember that. At this time, Board, I will need a motion for consent superintendent's recommendation and presentation for board action. Administrative staff, 3.1 through 3.26, taking out 3.3.
327.
I'm sorry, 3.27.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we went that far. Hold on. I didn't know we were going that far. Excuse me. 315 take out.
315.
Yes.
And 33.
And
I'm sorry, and what?
318.
3135. 318.
320.
Supervisor Secretary, 3.20.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Those four.
Yes. Thank you.
That's it?
Didn't take out more?
No, I'm just making sure you get the motion.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
At this time, Board, I will need a motion for consent superintendent's recommendation and presentation for board action. Administrative staff, taking out the following 3.3, 3.15, 3.18, and 3.20.
Yes, just 3.
So we're looking at a motion from 3.1 through 3.27, minus the 3, Board Member Elba.
Did you say 315 or
She said
35?
3.15. Not a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move. Thanks. I'd like to move that this board approve consent agenda, superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board actions, administrative staff. We're going to go items 3.1 through 3.27. However, we are going to remove item 3.3, 3.15, 3.18, and 3.20.
I second.
Those. Okay. Any questions about the items other than the 4 that we taken out of this motion? Dr. Rock, would you please call the roll, please?
Mrs. Elba,
Yes.
Mrs. Moon,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mrs. Freeman, Mr. Freeman.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. I would need a motion. I'm going to do these separately. Is that okay, Ms. Elba? Or-
Yes.
We need a consent. Superintendent's recommendation and presentation for board action, administrative staff, 3.3, administrative salary schedule. Do I have a motion?
So we're doing each one separately?
Yes.
Then I'll make a motion to accept item 3.3 administrative salary schedule.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Moved by Member Gator, second by Member Newman. Any questions? Board?
I just have a comment. I am not disagreeing that we should pay our staff. However, when we just said at the last several board meetings that there's not going to be any money, and we're in the middle of negotiations, not really sure how much of a wise decision this would be to do this at this present time, and that is the reason why I asked for it to be separated that I'm not supporting. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Rock, at this time, can I?
I'm sorry. I'd like to make a comment also. So I don't recall us saying that there wasn't going to be any money. Is that what was said? Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I needed. Thank you.
Dr. Rock, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moon,
Yes.
Mrs. Elba,
No.
Ms. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes, motion carries 4-1. Next, I'm going to need a motion to consent superintendent recommendation and presentation for board action, administrative staff for 3.15, and that is contract renewal athletic coordinator.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept item 3.15, contract renewal for athletic coordinator Brian Swift. Excuse me.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Gator, second by Ms. Newman. Any questions, board, about 3.15? Contract renewal athletic coordinator.
Not from me, sir.
Dr. Rock, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mrs. Elba,
No.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes, motion carries 4-1. Next, board, I will need motion for consent superintendent recommendation and presentation for board action administrative staff 3.18, which is contract renewal for school social worker. Can I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept item 3.18, contract renewal for the school social worker, Faith Gordon.
Second.
I second.
Moved by Member Gator, second by Member Mumin. Any questions or any concerns?
I just have a question.
Go right ahead.
We never received any type of feedback as far as this position. We discussed that when it was voted on, that there would be a feedback as to see as far as how this would be, what building it would be, if it was really effective or not.
Oh, okay. So we have a report at the next meeting for her. She only worked 2 months, but we'll have a report at the next meeting for what she did.
I'm just asking.
Yo, no problem.
What school was she at?
Yeah, I would say she was basically John Dewey. I'll have Jamie speak more to it. She'll speak to it. Jamie, if you can speak to it, please. She reported to Jamie.
Okay, well, I guess here's my question. Was she effective to be at 2 buildings in lieu of all the things that are going on? Or would have been better effective being at 1 building and hiring someone else, is my question.
I would say we need another one.
Okay, so she was effective in working with the counselors as well? Okay, that's what I needed to know.
And she worked with-
Never saw any paperwork on it.
And she worked with parents too. So we'll, if we can get a report, Ms. Lindsay, you can have that for us at the next meeting. We appreciate it.
I'd like to ask the board what kind of information do they want to see specifically? I agree that something would be good, but I think that we, so that she doesn't present something and we say that's not good enough. So what kind of information do we want to see? Do we want to see the number of students that she saw? Maybe a general explanation of what were some of the issues that they were dealing with? So maybe if you could establish, we can share it with the board prior to the meeting so that when we come to the meeting, the questions could already be addressed.
I think that's a great request, and we'll provide it.
Thank you.
And I'd like to add one thing about this district and what we didn't have, and I sit on the national board, and other school districts, urban districts like ours have a social worker. So for us not to have it for years, and we know what we go through with our children and their home life, and they're not eating, they may not get enough sleep, so we need that social piece in a school. So, it's hard to gauge in 2 months, like the superintendent says, but it's something that this district needs. So I'm not going to question it. If Ms. Lindsay, you can give us some report on it, that's fine. I need to have it go a little longer for me to see what it's going to do.
But Ms. Lindsay, you really have to be very careful what information is being shared.
Correct.
That too.
Confidentiality.
You don't want to be fervent.
We could just say how many cases she had, and it's easy.
You want to know how many people, that's fine. But when you start talking
And
about
minimum
people
social.
have problems and kids have problems, you can't do that. So be careful what you
But I would do concur. We need another one. Just John Dewey and Eastwood. John Dewey can consume you with his situations by itself. But then in high school, it's a whole nother animal. So.
If you don't mind, being in a high school, I watched Ms. Gordon walk in a high school one day. I watched the service about 4 times in a matter of like, it was like almost a whole day.
Okay.
So it was just interesting to see that piece happen, where some people that I interact with said, "Hey, wait a minute, I have to go through this." So I'm never going to speak to some of the things that have been happening, that additional person actually high school. And to see some of the students and some situations that were in, and see them engage with their family came up and engaged with her. And that was sort of like the end of the night.
Good.
But let me just say this, okay, because from what I'm hearing, people think that I'm saying we don't need a social worker.
No, I don't think anybody's saying that.
Let me talk, Jesus. That's not what I'm saying. I wanted to know, I get tired of coming to these board meetings, we ask for data on different things, and we never get it, but then you turn around and have to vote on it. It's hard to vote on something when you don't have any data, and for you to send data after we vote, is pointless. That's what I'm saying. We need data to even see if it's effective. If you're sitting here saying we need more than one, then you should have bought data beforehand. Then instead of voting on one social worker tonight, we could have been voting on 3 or 4. That's what I'm saying.
But I want to say,
wait a minute.
I do want to say something back.
Wait a minute. Because we're in the middle of a vote, then let's vote, and then Mr. Jolly can make the time because we are in the middle of a vote.
At this time, Dr. Rock, could you please
But we're still having discussion about this, so I think you should continue the discussion. Let Mr. Jolly finish, and then we can close it.
I agree with Ms. Elba. I agree.
I'm sorry.
I agree.
All right, can we,
I would, yep, just one thing to Ms. Elba's point. The agenda goes out. We all communicate with Mr. Jolly. So I'll say this because I say this quite frequently. If you have questions or concerns, if there's information that you need to make a vote, you need to reach out to them in advance. So that's all I'm going to say.
But that's considered, Ms. Gator, having a meeting before the meeting. Just like I watched you guys for 3 days have a meeting via email. Totally a violation of your Ohio Revised Code. And that's why I waited until a board meeting to ask my questions. All these emails, they go across every day about different things. Those are meetings.
Can we please just go back to the agenda?
We were on the agenda. We were on the agenda.
I mean, the discussion keeps continuing. I'm asking for a vote, and we still keep continuing.
I'm ready.
Dr. Rock, would you please call the roll for 3.18 social worker?
Mrs. Elba,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes. Motion, did we get Ms. Elba's vote?
Yes, you got my vote. It was a yes. I just need information.
Motion carries 5-0. Next on our motion, I'm going to need a motion board for the consent agenda, the superintendent's recommendation and presentation for board action, administrative staff for 3.0, contract renewal supervisor for security.
It's 3.20.
Sorry, 3.20.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept item 3.2, contract renewal for supervisor of security.
Do I have a second? Moved by Member Gator, second by Ms. Newman. The floor is open to discussion, 3.20, security renewal. Hearing none, Dr. Rock, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mrs. Elba,
No.
Ms. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Next on our board agenda is,
4-1.
4-1.
4-1.
yeah, 4-1, I'm sorry.
You said 4-0.
Also, at this time, our 2 new principals are here. I'd like to introduce our Eastwood principal, Andres Bishop. Could you stand and give, would you like to say anything? Or?
Just want to thank Superintendent Jolly and the board for bringing along the
We are too. And our new high school principal from North Carolina, way of John F. Kennedy, Ricky Reynolds. Ricky? Speak, Ricky.
Yeah, very okay. But very, very excited being part of this community, part of this and I'm at the place where I can see that you guys are in striking distance right now. I'm hopeful that things that we're going to do at high school can improve those we're all working. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our board agenda is 4, consent superintendent's recommendation and presentations for board action certified staff. Superintendent Jolly, do you want to touch base on any of these?
No, these are basic. We do have the recension of a non-renewal on the agenda. 4.1, summer school, amendment to summer school. That changes the source of the funds, which is in 4.3. 4.4, non-renewal for coaching. 4.6, all these are standard, not the renewal of linkage coordinators.
You said 4.4 is not renewal. My 4.4 say curriculum math.
My apologies, it is curriculum mapping. Yep. And these are adding additional days. When they started with curriculum acclimate, it was going real good and they needed some additional time. Our rest is just standard. Our limited contracts, so forth. That's it.
Thank you, Superintendent. At this time, Board, I will need a motion for consent superintendent's recommendation and presentations for board action. Certified staff 4.1 through 4.15.
Yes, I'll make the motion to accept as a consent agenda superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action certified staff 4.1 all the way down to 4.15.
A second.
I second.
Moved by Member Gator, second by Member Newman. The floor is open. Board, do you have any discussion about anything in 4.0? Superintendent recommendation presentations.
No, sir.
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
It's 4.15, is that for next year? The
No, it's for this year.
Dr. Rockland, please call the roll.
Mrs. Moon,
Yes.
Mrs. Elba,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Next on our board agenda is the consent superintendent's recommendation and presentation for board action. Classified staff. Superintendent Jolly, did you want to address?
The 5.1 is retirement to 2 employees. 5.2 is the resignation of 2 employees. 5.3 is the hiring of a cleaner custodian. And 5.4 is the hiring of a bus driver.
At this time, Board, I will need a motion for consent superintendent's recommendation and presentation for board action. Classified staff 5.1 through 5.4.
Yes, sir, I'll make the motion to accept item 5, consent agenda, as a consent agenda for superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action classified staff 5.1 through 5.4.
A second.
I second.
Moved by Member Gator, second by Member Newman. Board, do you have any discussion on 5?
I do.
Go right ahead. So,
To fill a vacant custodial position, who left? I'm still looking to see who left and we're replacing.
Ernest McDaniel left. This is a replacement for Ernest McDaniel.
So at the rec center. So this person will be at the rec center. And then I guess I have another question. Are we checking BCIs and FBIs? Because from my understanding, one of the people on this agenda possibly has a felony.
Oh, yeah, FBI's have been checked. They've been, and can you even speak to it? Because you, please speak to it. And anybody who's hired is cleared through our legal counsel.
any other questions, Board?
No, it's not.
Dr. Rockland, please call the roll.
It's not.
Mrs. Elba,
No.
Mrs. Moon,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes, motion carries 4-1. Next on our board agenda is consent superintendent's recommendation and presentation for personnel and programs. Superintendent Jolly, would you want to touch base on anything?
Yeah, 6.1 is a suspension appeal affirming the suspension. 6.2 is the same, and 6.3 and 6.4. 6.5 is a payment for mental autism resource center. We had a student that moved in late. There was required intensive support. 6.6 is Achievement Network. This is an addition. We had it on the agenda on November 10th, and they did an additional day of service with us visiting our buildings. 6.7 is our NOTA agreement. This is our distance learning. We use ACT. Middle school uses it extensively, working with Cleveland Clinic, where kids take classes through distance learning. And 6.8 is Standard Ohio Athletic Association, stating that we will continue our membership. 6.9 is the science textbook adoption. 6.10 is PEP for extended school year students whose IEP state they need to get services in the summer. 6.11 is Blue Technologies. This is a purchase of Chromebooks for the district, for some to go in Westwood and other areas in the district. 6.12 is just an agreement with Youth Opportunities Unlimited, who supplies students to work in our schools. We have 30 students in the district that will be working with us. And that concludes that area.
Thank you, Superintendent. At this time, Board, I will need a motion for the consent superintendent's recommendation and presentation for personnel in the program 6.1 through 6.12.
Mr. Chair, I move that this board approve consent agenda approve superintendent's recommendations and presentations for the personal programs, items 6.1 through 6.1.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Vice President Mitchell, second by Member Newman. Board is open for discussion. Consent.
Question, Dr. Rock. This, Dr. Rock.
I know which number.
6.5.
Okay, thank you.
Is this for last school year? It says 16-17 school year.
Autism, pardon.
We have to ask Jamie on that.
April this year? Any other question, Board? Any of those items? Dr. Rock, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mrs. Elba,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Next on our board agenda is district policies. At this time, we don't have any, but I'm sure co-chair, we will have it in the work session on July 13th. Co-chair. Ms. Gator,
I'm sorry.
you'll possibly have
We will have policy to review,
second reading.
it'll be the second reading, and I hope to have an update on the policies that we were not able to approve, which was graduation rate and all the ones that dealt with the new technology COOP laws.
Okay, thank you. Number 8 is unfinished business. I know Superintendent Jolly did speak to that. So for the 2 schools, they're actually going to have the units ready to go next week?
Well, we'll have them delivered next, so we getting John Dewey delivered
Okay.
tomorrow. Then the other 2 they'll deliver, and then we have a schedule of getting other schools up.
Okay.
So everything should be in place by August.
August, this should be in place.
Or do you have any questions for Superintendent about the air conditioning units?
I don't know, what kind of warranty do we have on these?
The Rock, do you?
We have to get back. I'm not sure about the warranty. Yeah, we have to get that.
It'd be the standard one, an air conditioner, because they're window air conditioners. We'll have to get it though.
And then I'd like to know how much was the salary, but don't send it in an email, can you just bring it to the next meeting?
How much was the what? I'm
The
sorry.
warranty, how much was the warranty? The
No.
price of the warranty and the length of the warranty.
I got you.
Okay.
Did we buy an extended warranty?
Yeah.
We may not have those buildings that long to need a warranty. So,
Exactly.
I'm hoping.
Right.
Westwood renovation update. I know Superintendent Jolly gave a great update. I did do a walkthrough. We are going to need to put some work and put some elbow grease in that to get it ready for the scholars and the educators going into that building. Mr. Jolly, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, July's gonna be a busy month. We just gotta get it ready to clean extensively. We have to put whiteboards up and projectors. We gotta get technology up to par. So our goal is to have it done. So we'll be working hard in July.
Thank you, Superintendent. Next is new business. It's something that
Wait, I have a
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Excuse me. I have a question about Westwood, and I meant to ask this when there was a vote on the table. For Westwood to have 2 grades, right? How many kids are over there, and how do we hire staff if we don't know how many kids that's going over?
We know how many kids because we have the students are in our district. So we know we're gonna have about 250 kids over there.
Give or take.
No, we know they're in 2nd and 3rd grade now. They're moving up from first grade and then going to second.
I get that, but you know how some fall off and whatnot, so I'm just trying to. Well, you know how people move.
That's true, but
You know, that's why I said give or take.
so standard projections, you assume you're gonna have the same as you had last year, and that's what we're assuming. And we make adjustments if we
Mr. Walsh is
change.
working hard, and I'll announce it, but we're having our registration fair on Saturday. So we have that for the last 2 years I've been here. We do get an influx of new scholars. So
Okay, well, speaking of that, are we doing open enrollment? Because the way the commercial sounds, it's like we have open enrollment here, and to my knowledge, we haven't voted to be a policy.
No, we don't have open enrollment.
Okay. Well, I know we don't, but you know, when you're a commercial, it sounds like it has open enrollment. You need to know these things.
all right, next is new business. I have been talking to Mr. Jolly and Dr. Rock, and as a board, we need to evaluate those two. They're our employees. I would like to set it up with this board and Mr. Jolly and Dr. Rock sometime in July. I know we have vacations for Dr. Rock and vacations for Superintendent Jolly, so I would like to do it after you guys get back from your actual vacation.
Yeah, I'm here the whole all of July. Next week is my vacation. I'm here the rest of
Dr.
July.
Rock, you're on vacation too.
Yeah, last week of July.
Oh, okay.
It's my big vacation.
Between that, so I'll make sure that the board has the last actual evaluations we did for those two in November. Former President Ms. Gator. Did you have a copy of that? Okay, all right, okay. I'll make sure the board gets it next week, and if you don't, let me know. Dr. Rock, is there any correspondence?
No, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. At the last meeting, and I didn't send it an email, so if you'd rather I bring it up at the next meeting, that's fine. But we had started having a discussion about ESC helping us with the board evaluation.
That's right.
Where are we with that is what I was really just wanting to ask.
I thought you guys forgot somebody was gonna bring quotes to the meeting. That's what
I
was
sent
said.
it to the entire board.
You did?
So you only looked for one?
No, I had both. I had from OSBA, from Terry Morgan, and I had from Steve Farnsworth.
So I'm just saying, so it's just the two ESC and OSBA. We didn't get a third, okay?
I didn't get it third.
Okay.
But, would the board like to bring that to the 13th? Or, I mean,
Yes, that's fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
So can we add it for a vote on the 13th to make a decision?
Yeah.
On the 13th, or do we want to go ahead and open it up for discussion at the first meeting in July?
It's up to
It is the first of July.
Yeah, it's the 13th,
Oh, okay.
a work session.
Sounds good. Then, okay, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would also like to ask the board for a vote on the 13th for some very key positions. The Director of Transportation, possibly the Business Manager, and the Supervisor of Food Service. We have been going through the interview process, and we hope to have people by then.
Okay, so we're looking at those 3 votes, and then possibly for self-goal evaluation board evaluation on 13th. Vice President. And the only announcement I have is that we are having our Stuff to the Bus and our registration fair here at the high school that will take place on this Saturday, the 24th, from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. All of our pupil services, along with Ms. Rudolph, will be here. Ms. Rudolph, did you want to speak to that on Saturday?
Saturday, we're gonna have a back to school fair and also stuff to us, to take donation for school supplies. It will be from 9 to 2. All community is welcome to come. We have a host of vendors, hope to get out of, enroll as well. We will have some of our administrators here as well, representation of each building, the band,
The dancers. The dance, not the calves. The dancer.
Yeah, Matt, the city of Warrensville has made a donation Councilman Howard, if you'd like to share.
Speak about that, Councilman Howard.
So I serve as the youth committee chair for the city of Warrensville, city council, and this morning, all weekend, this week, before they made we started off the do monetary donation, but it wound up being that we're just gonna go ahead and do like $400 worth of school supplies, and I just left the Warrensville Homeowners Association meeting, and they agreed to do $100 monetary gift.
Right.
So they'll be donating a check Saturday.
Thank you, Councilman Howard. I did talk to Clarkwood Association. She called me yesterday, so they are donating. Thank you so much. Our next board meeting will be July 13th. It's our work session. I will not be in attendance. I will be in Washington, D.C. for the Council of Boards of Education with my other board colleagues. Vice President Mitchell, it's your show. You will be running this board, and I'll be watching. But please treat her very nicely.
Chair,
I'm sorry.
Ms. Gator,
Ms. Gator?
she won't be here either.
Are you won't be here, Michelle? You want to DC? Okay. Well, that'd be two members out here. At this time, is there any other business we need to discuss for it? I need a motion to adjourn. I'm sorry.
One more thing, can we put those donations on the agenda?
You keeping track of them?
Yeah, Dr. Rock, would you please make sure that those donations go on the agenda? At this time, I need a motion to adjourn this meeting, June 22nd, 2007. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Do I have a second?
I second.
Moved by Member Gator, second by Vice President Mitchell. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Wait. I just have one thought, and you guys can think about this, that maybe we can postpone our July 13th, either move it up or move it back, since we both